again. It's been so long since you've been.
Today's edition of Unity Train on Unity 93.3 FM. Of course, as usual, we are reaching you live from the hills of ZINARIYA in Jos North, Plateau State, Nigeria. Today is Thursday, the 26th day in this wonderful month, September the year 2024. Eji Adamu is my name. Could be if you like, and I'll be just fine. As usual, this program comes your way every weekday, Mondays to Fridays, every week. Once it is 8 o'clock, we start and never stop until it is 9:30. And we have 3 segments to this program. The first is a review, the second is transit, and the last is interactive section. And so, would be very happy if you choose to be part of it. All right, as usual, I don't do this alone, so I have in the studio the very people who would always give me the reason to continue on this, just as you also are part of the reason for which I find it worthy to be here. First, I have Professor Paveno H. Bamayi, Dean, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Jos. He's coming your way, as usual, with a big good morning, dear listener. Enjoy it.
Could be a beautiful good morning.
Good morning.
Viewers and listeners. Good morning if you're in other parts of the world where it's not morning. Then good afternoon and good evening. Today is 26 September 2024. It is the United Nations International Day for the total elimination of nuclear weapons. International Day for the total elimination of nuclear weapons. We know what happened at Hiroshima, at Nagasaki, and it was to happen in Tokyo before Japan unconditionally surrendered during the Second World War. And that surrender of Japan ended the Second World War. America went into record as the first and hopefully only country so far who used a nuclear weapon. We hope that no nation will ever have any reason to use the nuclear weapon after America used it to end the Second World War in 1945. But nations of the world, even as they're meeting now at the United Nations General Assembly, we hope that they can talk more about peace and safety for the citizens of this earth. But let me quickly remind you, your goals, objectives, dreams for 2024 must not be abandoned. You need to ensure that your goals, your objectives are smart. That means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And I tell you, as you go about pursuing your goals, your dreams, your visions for 2024 and beyond, you meet resistance on the way. But your persistence will break every resistance. There will be obstacles, hindrances. You will meet tough times, but tough times never last. They stop people that do. Winners don't quit. Quitters don't win. If you try and you fail, try again. If you fail, keep trying. Try again. Failure is not fatal. Success is not final. It is the courage to continue that counts. Every man can fall, but it is champions that can rise after a fall. I encourage you, go out, make a difference today. As always, please remember to be the change that you want to see in the world.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much, Professor. Okay. To my left is Barrister Paul Saruma. Remember, just best legal practitioner and unbiased analyst. He's coming your way again with another big good morning. So enjoy it.
A very big good morning to you, Kulbi.
Thank you.
Good morning, Prof. Good morning, viewers. Good afternoon. Good evening, viewers and listeners, depending on where you are receiving the signals from. I don't know how the situation over there is. But in Jos here is a beautiful sunny morning with about 26 degrees Celsius. Thank you for having me once again this beautiful morning.
All right, that's lovely, and thank you so much for always being there. We are streaming live on Facebook. I would appreciate if you find it worthy to already join us and be part of the conversation this morning. Yesterday we had a team of pharmacists visiting us, and it was lovely. I still have some of the questions they were meant to answer because we had a lot yesterday. We look forward to hearing from one of them to answer some of your questions. And so I would beg that you again continue to stay tuned till that very moment. Okay, some of the headlines we'll be looking at this morning. U.S. executes man for the 1998 killing of a woman despite her family's calls to to spare his life. Okay, another one says Nigerian government increases allowance of NYSC members from 33,000 naira to 77,000 naira. This one is, I think, is exciting, and so I love it. How Minister of Women Affairs directed me to pay public funds into her personal account. Oh, mine. And this one says, 2 dead, 2 missing as flood ravages Ibadan. Talking about floods. Okay, Naira continues to depreciate against dollar on Wednesday. Bob Risky, federal government orders investigation into alleged bribery, corruption in Nigerian prison. Appointment of CJN Kekere Ekun shows Tinubu's respect, seniority in judiciary presidency. Okay. Sexual harassment, published investigations, outcome ex-female soldier tells Army this, and lots more are coming your way. Of course, there are issues probably from Plateau State where we are
from home, Plateau State. And it's good news on the Plateau. You recall in 2022, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi sponsored a bill. He's the one representing Pangshin, Kanke federal constituency. And he sponsored a bill for the upgrading of the Federal College of Education, Pangshin, to a Federal University of Education. That bill scaled through the National Assembly and was even assented to by His Excellency the then President Muhammadu Buhari. We're happy to report that this week, day before yesterday, the Federal University of Education Pangshin was officially inaugurated. And not just inaugurated, but they have a takeoff grant of 10 billion naira.
Yes,
University of Jos, since inception to today, has not received any takeoff grant. That's why you see we struggle with facilities at the University of Jos.
I see.
If you look at the second generation universities, University of Maiduguri, Sokoto, Ilorin, and other second generation universities, you will see that the University of Jos is lagging behind in terms of infrastructure because there was no takeoff grant. To this day, I don't understand why University of Jos was punished that way. But Federal University of Education Pangshin has received 10 billion as takeoff grant. And they already have an acting vice chancellor appointed, and it was big celebration. Yusuf Gagdi, that was his day, because he was all smiles and very happy. This is an achievement, promise fulfilled, and to see the Federal University of Education Pangshin take off right before his eyes is a great achievement. I think the people of his constituency will maybe keep voting for him again and again because the promise has been fulfilled.
If the constitution allows that.
Yusuf Gagdi is undoubtedly an achiever. He is one of those politicians that have brought in dividend of democracy. I was privileged to attend one of the events, particularly in his first tenure in office, where he gave a huge number of youth federal appointments. I don't know how he got it. I don't know why he's doing it differently from other representatives. And interestingly, Yusuf Gagdi is one of those people that have suffered a lot of smear campaign in Plateau State. It's quite unfortunate. Politics of bitterness, politics of vindictiveness. Yusuf Gadi is somebody that I don't think he deserves the kind of vituperation he has been getting from the opposition party, which is very, very unfortunate. Yusuf Gadi is unarguably an achiever, and then we celebrate him. While celebrating, we're also encouraging other legislators to do likewise. We're calling upon all our representatives to emulate him. They may not necessarily do exactly like him, but they should touch other aspects of human endeavor.
Oh, that's lovely. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has given its endorsement for the building of 40 houses designated for judges and justices in the Federal Capital Territory.
And with the confirmation of Justice Kudirat Kekereokun as the Chief Justice of the country, Chief Judge of Nigeria, the Supreme Court Chief Judge also, being the second woman to occupy that position. It's fantastic that in the FCT, Wike is going to build houses for judges, and hopefully around the country people can emulate what the FCT is doing. When judges are comfortable, the temptation to be bribed will be less. You will not want to be corrupt because you are very comfortable. You just tell them, what else do I need? So I think it's a welcome development. Let's use this opportunity to congratulate Justice Kudirat Kekereokun for assuming the mantle of leadership of the Supreme Court, and to wish her well in office, and to also thank His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu and indeed the National Assembly for following seniority. There was no contest, so to speak. We didn't hear of rancors, here and there, and it was a smooth process, and that is highly commendable.
All right, that's
it's quite commendable. President Tinubu set the pace there. He did not only follow seniority, he also followed the lay-down rules as provided by the relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution as amended, unlike what happened during the Buhari regime of Justice Onogen. Justice Onogen was made the acting CJN for 6 years, and then President Buhari reluctantly doesn't want to make him permanent, even though he was the most senior justice of the Supreme Court at that time. And then it was when he went for medical, one of those medical trips, that Osibanjo seized that opportunity to swear in Justice Onogen. And even after he returned, he still fabricated. They did a lot of fabrication, and then they removed Justice Onogen unceremoniously, which was a very terrible one for our democracy, which also went down into tampering with the independence of the judiciary, and it also caused to the question of the interference of the executive on judicial matters. The same thing, and that also laid a terrible precedence for other state governors to start copying. The same thing was played out in Gombe State when Governor Inouye Haya they refused to swear in an acting CJN at that time. So you can see that Tinubu, in that aspect, he is laying a good precedence, and we congratulate the brand new CGN, and we also congratulate the female folks because she is the second female CJN of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Oh, that's lovely. Federal government orders investigation into alleged bribery, corruption in Nigeria. Prison, okay, that has to do with
so many of such. But let's update our viewers and listeners about one of the news items you just read some minutes ago. That has to do with Private Ruth Ogunleye, the now ex-female soldier.
Yes.
On the 9th of January 2024, she came out on TikTok alleging that she was being harassed sexually by one Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim, along with another GS Ogo and Brigadier General. There are 3 senior officers, involved. And so, because she came out online publicly, it went viral around the country and even beyond the country. And the military authorities were forced to investigate the case after lambasting her for breaking military protocols and going public about the matter. She said she had to, because she had been complaining and she had been writing and nothing was done. So she just decided to ventilate. If she had not gone public on TikTok, probably nothing would have even been done. So the investigation took already 6-7 months. And finally, this week, the military authorities came out to tell us that the military officers involved are innocent, and that Private Ruth Ogunleye has mental issues, and that she has been discharged from the Nigerian army. Just yesterday, Private Ruth Ogunleye came on air again on one of our sister stations nationally to say that the military authorities lied and that she doesn't have any mental issues. And that even the discharge that the military authorities said they discharged her, she said she was the one that wrote to be discharged from the army. In fact, in her January video, she had complained also that she had been wanting to leave the army. She had written and they refused to allow her, to leave. But now she has been discharged because she spent about 5.5 years in the Nigerian army. So 5 years, about 6 months. It's not enough to be pensionable. You need to spend 10 years at least. But the military authorities said because of the intervention of the relevant government ministries, they have decided that she will receive a 50% pension for life. So, well, that is a welcome development. But the other side of it is that Private Ruth Ogunleye is still insisting I have no mental issues.
Yes.
And when she was taken to the National Hospital, Abuja, they said, according to her, that the test results were negative. That means that she doesn't have mental issues. And then she was also taken to the military hospital, and what she's insisting on is that I have no mental issues, even when she came on air yesterday. But, in Nigeria now, even with the current economy, there is hardly anybody that doesn't have mental issues. Even those military officers talking that she has mental issues, I think they also have mental issues. But I think we need to say this, and we need to state the facts clearly. The way the military is structured could be, viewers and listeners, barrister, is very difficult for a junior officer to win a case against a senior officer because of the structure of the military. It is obey the last order. Even if your officer is wrong, he's always right. And if you try to fight a senior officer, it is the senior officers that will investigate the matter. They will hardly ever indict their colleagues, except if it's something that happened in front of the cameras, maybe at the National Stadium, in front of everybody. But this kind of cases, you can never win against your senior officers. They will always cover themselves up. And I think in this case, most likely that is what has happened. They decided that we cannot come out and tell the whole country that these senior officers are guilty and then punish them because of one girl that is making noise. Who is she? And all that. And they decided to cover up. That is why in that news item, Private Ruth Ogunleye is saying, make public your findings. Let the whole Nigeria know what you found during the investigation. Don't just come out and say, those senior military officers, have been discharged, acquitted, they are not guilty and all that. But let's see what are your findings during your investigation. And I think that most likely we've not heard the last about this case. And we need to really call on the federal government and even our lawmakers that something needs to be done. Because in the military structure, even in the police, junior officers can hardly ever win a case against their superiors. When you have the military investigating herself, the police investigating herself, how are you going to get justice? That case should have been handed over to a neutral body, a neutral person, because it is military against military. How are you going to handle issues of conflict of interest? There is no way junior officers will get justice, because when you sit over your own case, at the end of the day, of course, you will give a judgment in your own favor.
No room for private investigation?
I think the case of Ruth Ogunloye is likened to the military being judges in their own case. So you cannot be a judge in your case and then be fair. I also support the call that an independent body should investigate, because one of the issues that was raised by that panel was that National Hospital was involved in examining her mental health. And then, if National Hospital is actually involved in examining her mental health, then I think there is what is bad in making the result public. And just like Prof rightly pointed out, it is extremely difficult for you to win a case against a superior by the structure of the military. You know, some of us that have had privilege to appear before a court-martial, in fact, at times, some of the judges seated there, you wonder if at all they are trained lawyers. You know, because you will see a lot of violation of the rule. That is why most cases that emanated from court-martial, whenever they go to court of appeal, I'm telling you, in 90% of the cases, the decisions have been obtained at the court of appeal. Because when you go to court of appeal, you meet neutral judges and civil judges. So, we are calling upon an independent investigation if really we want to get things right and we want to be serious in this country. You know, the most interesting part of it is that she said that she is the only person that was able to speak for so many women that are undergoing this kind of abuse from their superiors. And then if that's the truth, you know, it's not only the case of Ruth Ogunloye that should be investigated, that the acts of superior officers in the military over the junior officers, particularly the female folks, like some of us, we have special bias in the protection of the right of women and children. So we are calling upon authorities to protect those military females that are working, so that they will not be subject to abuse and they will not be treated like mere animals.
All right, that's lovely. We will be going on a short break, but before we do, I'll read the headlines again. U.S. executes man for the 1998 killing of a woman, despite her family's calls to spare his life. And this one, good news. The Nigerian government increases allowance of NYSC members from 33,000 naira to 77,000 naira. It's good news, right? How Minister of Women Affairs directed me to pay public funds into her personal accounts. And this one, 2 dead, 2 missing as flood ravages Ibadan. And Naira continues to depreciate against the dollar on Wednesday. Okay, Bobrisky, federal government orders investigation into alleged bribery, corruption in Nigerian prison. It's time for a short break, there, listener and viewer. And just after it, we'll be giving you the whole time. Again, we'll continue with the headlines. That's what I see, because there's still a lot for us to actually go in. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
Are you bored and need some company? Get a TV experience like no other on Unity TV. We are turning up the hits with captivating TV shows, electrifying political programs, music, movies, and lots more that will leave you craving. I'm sure you want to know more. Tune in to Unity TV today and let the excitement take over.
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way.
It concerns you. It kill law, it kill dreams. It land people for jail. War against drug abuse.
Get ready to be entertained and inspired by the incredible stories around the globe. Don't miss out on the excitement. Hello at Work is an ultimate TV program that brings to you the interesting stories and daily happenings worldwide. Join us Mondays and Thursdays 10 a.m. as we dive into the daily happenings and stories. Tune in and stay. Say hello to the world as you bring in your ideas, as it is a perfect blend of entertainment and information. Get ready to stay up to date while being entertained.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call 0700 225 5226, 0800 225 5226, or +234 817 665 6273. Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
Unity. Unity TV.
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? To see you again. It's been so long since you've been here.
So much for staying tuned. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to know that you are still there with us on Unity Trend, and this wonderful station, Unity 93.3 FM, and then the program continues. In the studio earlier, it was Barrister Paul Zaruma. Still in the studio is Professor Paveno H. Ba Mayi, and we continue. We continue to look at issues as we have them trending on our national dailies. Of course, both local and international news. Thank you, Prof. Let me sit right at the back of the train, and then we have you take the lead, sir.
Yeah, you know, one of the news items you read has to do with the U.S. Execution of a criminal 1998 criminal. One man called Williams, 55 years old, Missouri man. In 1998, he entered the house of a woman while she was taking her bath, and he broke into the house. That was on August 11, 1998. And he attempted to steal jewelries, handphone, laptop. But before he could leave the house, the woman came out of her bathroom, and she was approaching him when he took a knife and stabbed this woman up to 43 times. 43 times. Marcellus Williams stabbed Lisha Girl 43 times.
Just to be sure.
And she was just 42 years old that time. He made sure that he got rid of her. Killed her. And then, because the blood splashed on him, so he took one of the jackets in the house and put it on top of his shirt and went to his car. His girlfriend was the first person to start suspecting him because she was asking, why would you be wearing a jacket? The weather currently is hot. People don't put on jackets, so why are you putting a jacket? And the girlfriend noticed that he had a laptop, which he sold 1 or 2 days after, and other things. Well, the long arm of the law caught up with Marcellus Williams, and he was convicted and sentenced to death. Since 1998, the sentence was not carried out. In fact, he was supposed to be executed in 2005. They postponed it. Again, another time, in 2017, he was to be executed. It was postponed. But he wasn't so lucky in 2024. And even though the family of Lisha Girl said that they were not interested in the man's execution. They are not interested in the man being executed. In fact, they said the man should be allowed to just live out the rest of his life in prison. But murder cases are not family matters anymore. It has become a state case. If somebody kills, even if the family forgives the person, the state will not forgive the person. It has become, because it's a capital offense, it has become a case of the state, of the government. And so the government will not just say the family say you're forgiven, so we forgive you. No. The state will prosecute and ensure that the person is sentenced, receives the sentence, and the sentence is carried out. So unfortunately, this week, I think it's day before yesterday, finally Marcellus Williams was executed. This tells us a lot.
Yes,
that
a long one, and then
that what people call nemesis catches up with people, and karma catches up with people, and that no matter how long you run away from justice, one day justice will catch up with you, and that there is no point being a criminal, because now Marcellus Williams has plunged his son and family into mourning by his own execution, because he also has a family. Every criminal has a family, and that is why I wonder why when people want to commit a crime, they're only thinking about themselves and the immediate gratification. They're not thinking about the consequences of their actions. So, unfortunately, he lost his life in execution, but it is justice served by the state. And then Kulbi,
yes,
the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities, ASU, Academic Staff Union of Universities, has given a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government. That ultimatum already started on Monday. It has already started. 2 weeks ultimatum to implement the agreements reached with the federal government, including the NIMI BRICS agreement of 2022, or phase industrial action. Now, this matter between the federal government of Nigeria and ASU has been lingering for many years. But let's go back to 2009, recent. From 2009, there was an agreement between the federal government of Nigeria and the Academic Staff Union of Universities that the federal government will fund universities. And the federal government was to be releasing just about 200 billion naira every year for a certain number of years. Goodluck Jonathan did that only once. After him, no any other government has done it. Now, apart from that, if you talk about remuneration of academic staff, the salaries of academic staff have not changed since 2009. And we go to the same market with the politicians. Of course, you know that Sanu and Masu have already also issued their own ultimatum. 3 weeks. 1 week has already passed, so maybe the remaining 2 weeks will synchronize with that of ASU. The federal government has refused to implement agreements. They have just been paying lip service. They have just been tactical and maneuvering. They have just been, deceiving Nigerians and thinking that they're deceiving ASU, but ASU cannot be deceived. ASU understands the game. The federal government had promised that the 4 months or 3.5 remaining withheld salaries of 2022 during the 8-month strike. You know, they have paid about half and half is left. They said they were going to release the money. It has been approved. They will pay it. But up to now, as we're talking, that has not yet been done. The same thing for Sanu and Masu. And now, the federal government of Nigeria wants to plunge public universities into darkness, into another difficult time of agony by strike. ASU doesn't want to go on strike. In fact, we gave the government an ultimatum which has expired, and still we did not go on strike. ASU is not interested in going on strike. Sanu and Masu are not interested in going on strike, because at the end of the day, anytime there is a strike, everybody loses. Everybody loses.
But is this the reason?
The students will lose, the federal government will lose, ASU as academic staff we're going to lose also, because we've lost time, and then we have to work extra hard, to meet up with what the hours that we've lost.
Don't you think, Prof, this is the reason for which we should support the federal government in their effort to seek debt relief?
No, the federal government doesn't need any debt relief, because there is more than enough money. I give you an example. The federal government will always tell you, we don't have this money in the budget. But when there was a flood in Maiduguri and other places, they did not say they don't have money. They released 108 billion. In addition to money from other state governments and philanthropies. If today there is an emergency in the National Assembly, whether it is in the budget or not, the federal government will release the money, even if it is 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 10 trillion, they will release it. If it has to do with the politicians, there will always be money. But when it has to do with the citizens of Nigeria, it's like Napoleon's animal farm. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Now, because it is not for the interest of the politicians whose children are schooling abroad to just release small, tiny amount of money, it's a problem for them. How much is the 3.5 months that is left to pay us? How much is the 4 months arrears for Sanu and Masu? How much will it cost to revitalize the universities, so that we stop using kerosene stove and start using Bunsen burners, so that we don't have our students standing outside to listen to lectures, sitting on the stairs to listen to lectures, so that how much is it going to cost the government to take care of infrastructure in our universities, so that our students will not be going into the bush to ease themselves at the risk of their lives? Some of them have been bitten by snakes while they're trying, to enter the bush and ease themselves. In fact, some have lost their lives. In the Ife Federal University of Ekiti the other time, some one was trying to ease herself, and she fell inside the sockaway. And she died at the end of the day. So if you go to some of our universities, if you see the hostels, they are terrible. It's an eyesore. In fact, if you go see their toilets, you cannot even keep your dog in that toilet. I'm sure that if I take my dog and put him in that toilet, the dog will run away from there. because it is so unhygienic, unkept, unsafe for our students. Now, the federal government is supposed to just release a mega amount of money. The money is so small that you wonder why the federal government is playing Maradona, IBB style, Maradona game, with ASU, with SANU, NASU, and in various other sectors. The federal government is just keep dribbling left, right, and center. And they're just postponing the evil day. Because these are things that have to be done. If we're going to stop this Japa syndrome, if we're going to be high institutions that will be at par with our peers around the world, something must be done by the federal government. In fact, let's appeal to the federal government. Don't allow ASU go on strike, or SANU or NASU. And the only way you can avert these looming strikes is by implementing the agreements that you signed, is by paying all the withheld salaries, by paying all the earned academic allowances of academic staff, and even non-teaching staff. It is by revitalizing our universities. Do you know the University of Jos has not had electricity for about 3 months now? Since our students left on this vacation.
They left with the power?
They left with the power.
Okay.
Because as soon as they left, JED came and they cut off the power supply. Why? Because University of Jos is supposed to pay about 80 million naira in a month for electricity. Could be 80 million. 80 million naira every month. From where? From where will the university get the money? From where would the university get the money? The federal government did not give the university any money to pay electricity. In fact, the money they give for maintenance of the university and taking care of 1 or 2 things here and there that is supposed to be given every month, and it's not even every month it comes, is just a mega amount that cannot even meet barely 30% of the needs in the university in terms of maintenance, providing services, water, servicing various official vehicles, taking care of the environment, and you don't even talk about paying electricity. It cannot even pay the electricity bills, and the money needed to take care of student hostels, keep them neat and tidy, and all those things. The money that is released every month by the federal government of Nigeria is not enough to do that, and then you have to pay 80 million electricity every month. From where? And we've been talking about this for long. It is not just University of Jos, it's the same story. In Ahmadu Bello University, at a certain point, a federal ministry, I think education, had to come to their aid to clear some of the electricity bill. The same story in Maiduguri, the same story in Lagos, the same story in University of Benin, the same story all over the country. And that is why we're saying the federal government should prioritize education. Let me say this. If the children of the president, vice president, and all the senators, and all the governors, if all their children were schooling in Nigeria, in our universities, do you think they will abandon the universities the way they're doing? Just because their children are in Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford University, they're in different universities in Australia and Canada and around the world, in Europe. So they are not bothered about Nigerian universities. That is why if something is happening in the universities, something goes wrong, it's not an emergency for them, because their children are not here. Why is it that when somebody sponsored a bill 2 years ago or so that will stop public officers, politicians, from sending their children out of this country to school, why is it that the National Assembly threw away the bill? They threw away the bill because they know that if that bill passes, all their children will have to school in Nigeria, and they will have to fix the universities, and they are not interested in fixing the universities, so they threw away the bill. And it's unfortunate.
Don't you think we are breeding leaders of tomorrow? Because if these children, of course, I'm not saying that those who school in Nigeria are not good enough to lead us. After all, most of the politicians today are people who schooled even in the country Nigeria. But if
when the economy was better.
when it was better then.
And education was better.
Yes.
You know, in those days, even when we're in secondary school, the government pays you for going to school. At the end of the term, or end of the session, when you're traveling, they give you transport money in public secondary schools. There was food in the dining halls. Excess food, contractors will bring tons of meat, tons of chicken, tons of rice, vegetable oil, and all the rest of them. There was adequate food in those days.
And most of these politicians
and universities
tested it.
And
they
those politicians enjoyed it, but now they don't want the new generation to enjoy it. In fact, when we tell the new generation that, do you know, we enjoy these facilities, it is like you're giving them a fairy tale.
Yes, it's unbelievable.
They cannot believe it. They cannot believe it that once upon a time, the cleaners were sweeping, cleaning the rooms, cleaning the toilets in the universities, and that the food was more than enough in cafeterias in the university, and at almost no expense you will eat the kind of food you want with the meal ticket given to you, and that you have a fantastic time, and most of the states, if not all, were even given scholarships when you go to the university. But it is now like a fairy tale to the new generation. Now you have to do everything for yourself. Instead of that time when the government was paying people to go to school, now you have to pay yourself. Pay through your nose. You know, just yesterday when I left the studio here, before I could go out, an elderly woman and her daughter were waiting for us because they used to listen to us on a Unity train. The daughter has a certain amount of money that she has to pay to the university for her to complete her graduation process. She's owing fees, and she doesn't have the money. Her mother doesn't have the money. And the economy is biting her. Even to feed is a problem. And so yesterday she came to talk to us. I've even asked her, maybe, you know, she can talk to you and other people, but I made one or two suggestions, which I'm not sure is even going to work. And, you know, we have many of such indigent students that cannot pay school fees. This young lady came yesterday with her mom to plead that is there a way she can receive help somewhere, whether from the university or from some philanthropist, to be able to clear her fees for her to graduate and go, you know, with her mates. You know, I just hope that God will hear her prayer and answer her. But you see, these are the things we're talking about. In those days, when His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu was in secondary school and university, were they paying these fees? They were paying next to nothing to acquire education. But today, they want students to pay through their nose. Of course, I'm aware that they want to give students loan, and loan is borrowed money. Is that the best approach? So, something needs to be done. The federal government should prioritize education. Our national budget, the recommendation is that at least 25% of your budget should be set aside for education. But in Nigeria, that is not what is happening. The education budget for education is for over the many years now, less than 10% of the national budget is given to education. Now imagine if the president had used that 150 billion naira that he used to buy just one presidential jet, if he had put it in education. And all the money they wasted to build a vice president's mansion, and they wasted in a Dodan barracks, and they wasted to buy a yacht or whatever it is for the president, and all the money they waste traveling up and down all over the world, the money they wasted on the first lady of Nigeria, they spend over 700 to 800 million, almost $1 billion, you know, so far has been spent in that office that is not even recognized by the constitution. If all these wastages, they had used that money in education, I mean, we would have been singing a different story today. All the so-called money that they said they saved every month, at least 1 trillion naira by the removal of oil subsidy. If they sank the money of just 1 or 2 months in education, we'll have seen the difference. But education is not a priority for these politicians. Their priority is to live in luxury. Their priority is to travel around all over the world. Their priority is to win elections and have lots and lots of money and keep acquiring wealth on earth. They have refused to prioritize education. They have refused to prioritize the health of the people. They have refused to prioritize creating employment. When was the last time they employed? I know the universities have not employed since 2018. That IPPS came in 2019, 2020. There has not been any employment. Now, is the federal government really serious? Serious about solving this perennial problem of strikes and strikes? Like I said earlier on, ASU doesn't want to go on strike. SANU doesn't want to go on strike. NASU doesn't want to go on strike. But when you're pushed to the wall, what are you going to do? When you have been treated as second-class citizens in your own country, when your government is telling you that education is not even important. Look at the previous regime. You know, academic staff were on strike for several months, and the president, Muhammadu Buhari, that time said he's not even aware. I mean, are you serious as a president? He said he's not even aware that lecturers are still on strike. I mean, because they have refused to prioritize education. Now, let me tell you, if His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu will sit down today with ASU, with SANU, with NASU, sit with them and say, let's solve this problem once and for all. If the meeting doesn't conclude today, continue tomorrow. Continue the day after. Don't stop until you've agreed and you've solved the problem. Nigeria would have been the better for it. But in Nigeria, unfortunately, our presidents are too big to sit with unions and discuss. They're too big. They have refused to prioritize the people. They have refused to prioritize education and health, you know, and other sectors of the economy. Their priority is just, you know, their own ambitions. And let me just tell you, in one of the African countries, there was an industrial action. The president of the country sat down with the union. And when he sat down with the union, he said, everything you want approved, implement with immediate effect. That strike lasted just barely 1 week. And all that they wanted was given unto them. But here in Nigeria, when was the last time Bola Ahmed Tinubu sat with us, or NASU or SANU or any union? He would just send his ministers that maybe don't even have the executive power to implement, and they will go there and negotiate, and when it is brought, they will say, no, we don't agree with the negotiation. Look at the Nimi Briggs agreement. The people who negotiated, Professor Nimi Briggs of blessed memory, negotiated that agreement. They were people appointed by the federal government themselves. They sat down with Nimi Briggs committee and they agreed. And when the agreement was given to the federal government of that time, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, he refused to implement the agreement. And when Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in as president, he has also refused to implement the agreement. This is agreement that you were the ones that drafted, you were the ones, you were part of the negotiation, you were the ones that selected, you know, your own stooges, the people you want to represent you, to be on the committee and negotiate, and you refuse to implement that agreement. You don't see why it is very difficult for us to take politicians serious. Because they can promise you heaven and earth, they can promise you anything, but it is very foolish to believe the promise of any politician. Because most of the time, when they promise, it is just, you know, for some calm to return at that moment, just, you know, to make you feel good, but they have no intentions of implementing the agreements or fulfilling their promises. And that's why you see that in 2019, while ASU was on strike and elections were coming, the federal government quickly went and made some promises and deceived the universities, if I will use that word, and then the strike was called off so that elections can go on successfully in February 2019. But after then, they just kept quiet. Nothing happened. They allowed the strike of 2020 to take place. They allowed the strike of 2022. They have allowed strike, you know, to take place this year. They still want to allow another strike, you know, to take place. It is unfortunate. The government should be serious to prioritize education. Even very small countries in Africa that prioritize education. Look at what has happened to those nations. They've advanced more than Nigeria. Let me tell you that among the best universities, even in Africa, the first 10 best universities, there is no Nigerian university among the first 10 in Africa.
Not because we don't have the resource persons.
Not because
we don't have the brain.
In South Africa, Nigerians are there as lecturers. In Kenya, Nigerians are there as lecturers. Makerere University, Uganda, Nigerians are there as lecturers. And these are the universities that make up the first 10. Even our own University of Ibadan is not among the first 10 in Africa. And all the Nigerian universities, none of them is among the first 10. And in fact, the universities that are making waves from Nigeria around the world now, they are not public universities. It is Afe Babalola University, Covenant University, those private universities. Public universities, forget it. We don't have facilities to do cutting-edge research that we can publish in journals that have great international reputation, high impact factor journals, journals that when you publish in, people will know that the kind of research you have done is cutting edge research. We don't have those facilities in our Nigerian universities. Where they even exist, one or two exist, they are redundant, dumb and obsolete, you know. And the encouragement for academic staff to go into research is not there. I know that Tech Fund gives a research grants from time to time, but it's not even enough to do researches that will be at par with what they're doing in Cornell University, in Cambridge University, in Oxford University, in other places, you know, because the research grants you get from within Nigeria is just a mega small amount of money that they use for buying groceries by the time you convert it to dollars.
All right, there is no free, I won't say that. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after this commercial break, dear listener and viewer.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your
Unity. Unity TV.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call 0700 225 5226, 0800 225 5226, or +234 817 665 6273. Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
Are you bored and need some company? Get a TV experience like no other on Unity TV. We are turning up the hits with captivating TV shows, electrifying political programs, music, movies, and lots more that will leave you craving. I'm sure you want to know more. Tune in to Unity TV today and let the excitement take over.
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way.
It concerns you. It a kill law, it a kill dreams. It a land people for jail. War against drug abuse. Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you a dead politician. It's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you a
Dear listener and viewer, now it's time for you to join the conversation. Well, in case you're just tuning on, this is Unity Train on Unity 93.3 FM. Of course, I'll be very happy, as usual, if you find it worthy to again and again be part of it, not just listening. We would love to also be blessed by your own opinion. So if you have something other than what a barrister and professor have chosen to air as what they believe should be done, you too can politely get to throw your own comments. And on Facebook, we are streaming live at Unity Radio FM/TV Jos. And that is it again for WhatsApp channel. And so please, 070-3235-3315 is the studio line. If you could just tell me your name and location, and in 1 minute, that is
while the calls are coming, could be,
let's have your opinion.
Let's seize this opportunity to pay our condolences to the family of Professor Ochapa Onazi. He was one-time Vice-Chancellor of the University of Jos. Until his death, he was the chairman of the governing council of Kalkum University Von. He's a legendary educationist, especially agricultural education. He was VC University of Jos from 1985 to 1989. He's a man of integrity and character, well respected. His final funeral rites started on Monday with a service of songs at the Methodist Church here in Jos, and later was followed by another service at the cooking headquarters. So this Saturday, 28th September 2024, he'll be buried in his hometown in Benue State. So our condolences go to the family of this legendary Professor Ochapa Onazi, the good people of Benue State, University of Jos community, other universities where he has worked over the years, and lives he has impacted all across the country and beyond Nigeria. It is a time of sober reflection, and we mourn with this family and identify with the family in this difficult time. And we pray that may his soul rest in peace, and may his legacy live on, Professor Ochapa Onazi.
All right, let's just, I'll read some comments, text messages from yesterday. Permit me to do this. Okay, good morning, Kubi, and our amiable, passionate, consistent and passionate analyst, Professor Bamayi, the objective barrister Zaruma, and the sports analyst. Kudos to you all in the studio. Honestly, there should be serious investigation on the former and present governor of Zamfara State, and should not be swept under the carpet. Let's keep praying, because God is about to expose the big shots and politicians that are involved in the insecurity of Nigeria. Peace is priceless. Let's live in peace. God bless you. TFM, Plateau State in Nigeria. Christy Zan from Kubarot. And from today's message coming from Christy, good morning, Kubi, our amiable, consistent and passionate analyst, Professor Bamayi, and objective barrister Zaruma. God bless you always for your wonderful, educative and objective analysis. It's so sad and unfortunate that most of our leaders who enjoy the free educations are nonchalant about funding education. It's not fair. That's they don't care and have refused to prioritize educations. I pray that God will arrest them someday, very soon, so that they will see education as a priority and do the need for peace is priceless. Let's live in peace. God bless you. TFM, Plateau State and Nigeria. That one came from Christy Zang from Lukubaro. And still from yesterday, this one says, good morning, our guests, and as organizations, what measure do you take on those on license? And if we see something, say something, we can where can we report, and what is your relationship with NAFDAC? Okay, between NAFDAC and DLEA and doctors. This one is from Hassan Garba. And still from today, good morning. May Allah make us the clear to clear our debts before leaving this world. So Professor and Barrister defies the borrowing. Why do they still give us a fund? Prof and Barrister, yesterday our driver could drove us to our destination safely to 9:30 a.m. Your students performed excellent, but some of the students used your handout, Hassan Garba. Hassan Garba
was very interesting. Thank you, Hassan Garba.
Okay, we're happy because we are among the living ones. Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has acknowledged of us, knowledge of us, of our obstacles, and sufficient. May God reward you abundantly, God. Good morning. Okay, still from Hassan Garba. This one says, good morning, Kobe, Prof B, and Barrister Zaruma. May God bless you all for always increasing our knowledge for free. Could be, tell your engineer that, okay, I think this one has to do with someone else. Good morning, Kubi, Barrister, and the Prof. Nigeria is not a serious country. It is better to end something with a good result and start another that failed and felt discouraged to start it all over again. All those mentioned to have been aiding and supporting terrorism are supposed to have been imprisoned by now, but the law of Nigeria persecutes the poor only. Those who beat the drums of shame must dance to the tune. To Kobe, since Barrister has never responded to my request, I wish to meet up with him. Amy Longs from Agenge. Amy Long is still pushing hard.
Yeah, okay. Let him go ahead and meet Barrister.
Yes, I love this commitment. I love this commitment. Hello, good morning. Our first caller for today. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kobe.
Thank you for calling.
And the Barrister in the studio.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Adeomi. All right.
You see, Mr. Kobe, my thing is the president said subsidy is gone.
Yes.
Outside that, instead of prioritizing education and using the money removed from the subsidy, education so that students can benefit. That is not what we are getting. Presently, we see children now, those that are even going to school now, they are even trekking far distances. And if you even watch the situation of the time, you see that quite a number of students are not even going to school.
Yes.
Because there is no money to even pay their school fees. You see, it's high time that the government at least make education a part of the priority.
Yes.
Especially in their budget.
Oh.
And see, because education becomes the bedrock. You see, increasing the it's very good that you can increase the money of the NYSC. But if a child did not start well, when the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do?
I see that.
You understand? At the primary level and secondary level is very important.
Yes,
you understand what we're saying? Because parents are really going through a lot.
I see.
Honestly speaking, the president, if it's possible that the president can help, honestly speaking, as a word of advice, to just reverse some of the policies so that Nigerians can breathe, because Nigerians are really going through a lot.
Thank you so much.
God give him the wisdom to lead this nation, because we are really suffering. Thank you, and God continue to bless you.
Thank you so much, Adeomi.
Adeomi has pointed out a matter we read in the headlines, the NYC.
Yes.
That even though they have increased it, but look at the students who are suffering, who are currently in the universities. You know, education should be prioritized. The best way to destroy a nation is to neglect education. If you neglect education, you will destroy the whole country. Because you produce butchers instead of doctors. They will go and be killing people because you did not invest in education. And you produce engineers that will be causing a lot of chaos in the country. You know? Accidents left, right, and center, buildings collapsing, you know, and all that. If you refuse to fund education, you are not just doing a disservice to yourself, but you are doing disservice to perpetual generations to come. And the NYC 77,000 minimum wage award or whatever, now that it has been increased, the allowance from 33,000 to 77,000, it is a good thing. But the value of 33,000 naira before May 29, 2023 is more than the 77,000.
So you see,
the government is giving them. What will have been equal to the 33,000 they were receiving before Bola Ahmed Tinubu became president should be something of about 100 to 150,000. That's the value of the 33,000 in the present Nigeria with the inflation. The allowance should have been increased to about 150,000.
Oh, I see. Oh, thank you for that educated one. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, you have a minute. Go on, please.
The greatest mistake on ourselves is we have allowed ourselves to be centered in one way. That is just the oil. We have refused to diversify the economy. Look at the situation we are talking about now. Everybody is shouting oil, oil, oil. Can't we subsidize education? Can't we subsidize health? Can't we subsidize so many things in this country? If we have been working, planning towards making the country work, we wouldn't be in this situation. You see, when you start comparing Nigeria with all those countries that are focused, Saudi, Americans, and the Libya, you can find out oil is not an issue in their place. Go there is food a problem, is education a problem, is your health a problem. You see, everything has been tied here. And you think people should not cry. You let us vote up and down, and we are in center. You think we should not cry? There must be something done. That is just what we are talking about.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. No, he's right. You know, our prayer points in Nigeria is different from what people pray in Germany, Canada, or the US. They don't pray for electricity. They don't pray about good roads. They don't pray about health and all those things. Even education, because it is given to them by their governments. They are functional governments. But here in Nigeria, with all our oil, nothing seems to be functioning well, unfortunately. Countries that don't even have oil are doing fantastically well.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, I am Bashir, one-time Dankoli.
Bashir, one-time Dankoli. So let's have you.
Thank you for coming the other day.
I'm just seeking to appreciate Professor and Barrister.
It's all right.
Education is power.
Yes, it is.
Government is supposed to bring back subsidy of education and subsidy to subsidize life for Nigerians. Nigerians are suffering.
I agree.
All right,
thank you very much. This is my contribution this morning.
Thank you so much.
Dankoli was at our seminar.
So. All right. Okay. Bulus Uhomanesta in Faringeda, good morning, Kubi, and the professor, the barrister in the studio. May God continue to bless you both for the great work you are doing out there. The problem of our country is bad leadership. I believe our country, Nigeria, is blessed with so many good things of life. May God continue to help us in this country through this hardship we are passing through. We pray for better Nigeria of our dreams. Thank you, Blues Esther Human. Hello, good morning.
My name is Amistala. I'm calling from Kayatarwa here in Gombe State.
Oh, you're calling from Kayatarwa in Gombe. That's lovely.
My regards to you and the platform.
Thank you so much.
I really am really listening what you are doing here on the platform.
All right.
Definitely, what I would like to suggest, or rather, my opinion on this.
Yes.
Is with regard to the issue of Naira depreciation that is being given depreciation out in Nigeria.
Yes.
I will be able to say that this is just artificial aspect about the issue of this Naira depreciation.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of processes that the government needs to be followed and ensure that they are being providing the Naira to be appreciated, but they are not doing anything tangible.
Okay.
So we make sure that our currency is being appreciated. So, especially about the emergency refinery, they will be able to sell the crude oil with the Naira so that they reduce the impact of the dollar. Because what is being hampering this country from the regulation whatsoever is just the Naira appreciation, Naira depreciation without dollar.
Okay.
I think the government needs to use something policy to ensure that they are being make the Naira to be appreciated. This is my full contribution, and thank you very much for that.
All right, thank you so much, calling all the way from Gombe. Yes, we love that. Okay, good morning, sir. This country is and the politicians are the architect of the mess. Yusuf Gakdi made himself famous when he swore to bribe every judge in the country just to, I don't think this is so good for us here at the moment. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Pro.
Okay, thank you for calling.
My name is Ambassador Usman. I'm calling from the area.
Okay, go on.
Thank you, sir. Let me start by commending the efforts of the Honorable Yusuf Adamugati.
Okay.
Over his business to the people of Plateau State. Really, this man makes the people of Plateau State proud. In fact, these are the type of people, or these are the type of members we want them to give to only 1 or 2 tenure.
All right.
At least they should be serving their people for over years. They allow this one. May God bless our country. May Allah provide the people of His people of Nigeria at large. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Good morning, Kobe Barrister and the Prof. Government is not serious, okay, and on educational system in Nigeria just because they have graduated. They don't care if others school or not. What does it take to settle with ASU? But they can't loot as much as they can. Okay, a day shall come when universities will be seen as secondary schools. Amy Longs from Agingi. Thank you, Amy Longs. All right, you can also join us if you really want to do that. I will appreciate on Facebook at Unity Radio FM/TV Jos. Okay, and throw your comments there. Just when it is okay and too good in terms of network, I would read your comments on Facebook. Hello. Okay, we lost that. Okay.
Yeah, so let me comment briefly about Yusuf Gagdi. The man is an achiever. I am not a politician. I'm not in APC or PDP or whatever. But once I see somebody has done something, he has done something. He has brought the Federal University of Education to function in his constituency, function Kanam Kanke constituency. What are the other people doing? What have they brought? What have all the other senators and the other members of the House of Rep? Like every mortal, he will have his own weaknesses, and I don't want to go into all that politics, but at least he has done some things that we're seeing on ground. So let the other politicians also do something that we can see on ground.
Yes, in HAUSA, Mogani Akasa.
That's right.
All right, thank you. On Facebook, this one is from Anas Bala Kashere. It's saying, from Gombe State, good morning, presenter and the guest on the platform. With regards to the Naira devaluations compared to dollar, definitely is getting artificial setback, and where we are now is where our leaders need to see us, and they were successful whenever the public stop asking about education, social amenities and good health, but rather asking about the food only. Then we can not go anywhere but rather to anarchy or total collapse. We hope to see the positive change. Thank you. Sabitu Habibu say, good morning, gentlemen of the praise. I salute you for marvelous doing. Have a lovely day ahead from Habibu Sabitu Mailele. Thank you. And Ibrahim is just a thumbs up there. Aminu Abdullah Shab say, good morning, Beatrice Kubi Adamu, professor and the barrister in the studio. I'm watching you live from British Junction, Nigeria. Need prayer every day because of the condition of the country is very unfortunate. It's prayed and work hard. We'll keep it up. All right. And this one is from Muri Azi. Good morning, Unity Trends, the Uncle Kubi and the Professor Bamayi, a compliment of the seasons. We are where we are and what we are because of our own conduct. If there is a principle, of course, and effects which controls business, finance, and transportations, this same principle controls individuals and determines their economic status. This is the much I think we'll be able to take on today's editions from the Facebook. We might just take one or more And we'll put it an end for today. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Your name, please.
I'm Joseph from Rukubaro.
Okay, from Rukubaro.
So if his device is on.
Yes, my brother, I think you are hearing me, bro?
Yes, we're hearing you, but we're having a very bad signal, interference.
Switch off your device. Your radio or TV, whatever device, just switch it off.
Are you okay now?
Yeah. Yes, please go on.
Okay, please, what I'm saying is this. I have an older man, my friend. The man told me one day, I bet you did that care. And I asked him, what do you mean by this? He said, who are you that have been doing business over 30 years? Because we are doing it with truth. We're happy, he is happy, I'm happy. He used to visit my house every time, and I used to visit him, just like the brother. But he said, no, he's an older man. When he told me this, I laughed. I said, I don't know you did that here. Where I'm saying this is that you cannot build something on nothing and it will stand. What I'm saying is about Nigeria.
Okay.
The constitution that the army gave for that is not the constitution that will create Nigeria as a nation. It is better for people and the people to tell them people and the civilians. Yes, I take that paper from people, and that is also good luck. Let the select give Nigeria to make a good constitution that will give Nigeria through federalism, truth.
All right.
Minus truth, we are going nowhere.
Thank you very much.
A new constitution that includes all Nigerians. If immediately they do this today, within 1 month, every Nigeria will be happy.
Okay. Thank you.
I people, they know what they are doing. Just to teach me the poor people.
Okay. Thank you.
Please, let the people and the people hear this thing. Thank you.
All right. I did the NIE say the guy. I hope I got that
It's
well.
pouring out his heart. Kubi, let's quickly remind viewers and listeners, especially those on the plateau, of 2 major events. On Saturday, we will continue our seminar, empowering the people, talking about business, agriculture, crop farming, animal farming, and other investments, that you can make to have a better life in this difficult economy. So, please come for the seminar on Saturday, 12 noon, at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Jos, permanent site. That's the Naraguta campus.
Okay.
So it's Saturday, 12 noon, and at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Jos. And of course, this last Saturday, normal sanitation. Viewers and listeners on the plateau, come out, clean your environment, make it tidy. Remember, they say cleanliness is next to godliness. So this Saturday, don't just go and sit down and maybe sleeping at home. Tomorrow, hopefully we'll remind you again tomorrow, Friday. Right. The seminar, 12 noon on Saturday, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Jos, permanent site, and prepare for the environmental sanitation also on Saturday.
All right, thank you, dear listener and viewer. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. I would end with apologies to you because I've not been able again to read all of your text messages and also the comments on Facebook, and then pick all of your calls. It kept coming in. I truly appreciate your desire to also be a part of this conversation every day. Tomorrow, God's willing, in His grace and mercy, we'll get to see tomorrow, and we come here again and make sure the platform is readily available for you to make good use of it again and impact in shaping our society. Okay, our community broadcast is coming your way on our radio arm, Gamai community broadcast to be precise, and I beg that you stay tuned and enjoy it. Professor, thank you. Everyone who made this program a success, the crew, I truly appreciate you, even though I will not be able to mention your names one after the other, but I truly appreciate you. From me, Kubi, see you tomorrow for yet another interesting edition. Bye-bye.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you birthday.